Hey, guess what? I'm reviewing another new movie. Look at me, I'm growing up. Ford versus Ferrari. So Ford versus Ferrari stars Matt Damon and Christian Bale and is the somewhat true story of the time in the 60s when Ford was crashing because nobody wanted to buy Fords anymore. And they're like, I have an idea. What if we won the 24-hour at Le Mans, which is this huge race event that's 24 hours long? And it's like, you know what? We actually happen to have access to the only American ever to win that race, which is Matt Damon's character, Carroll Shelby. So they go to him and he's like, hey, we need your advice on how we're going to win the 24-hour at Le Mans. Carroll Shelby is like, well, it starts with a great driver, and that is Christian Bale's character, Ken Miles. And now we have a story. Carroll and Ken are going to build the beastliest car in the world, and they're going to beat Ferrari at the 24-hour at Le Mans, and it's going to put Ford on the map again, it's going to make them relevant again, and they are going to lead the automobile charge for the rest of time. Right? Like, they're still in the lead, aren't they? Like, everybody wants a Ford? Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody wants a Ford F-150 for their first pickup truck. I want to say, though, there's a lot of actors that I've been saying should get pushed for a nomination for Best Actor. Christian Bale in this movie is absolutely one of them. He gives such, not necessarily a movie performance, but such a convincing and spellbinding performance as Ken Miles. You totally buy him as this car whiz, this racing genius, this guy that he feels the car in such a unique and intimate way. His car is an extension of him, and that's why he's such a good racer. It's why he's the guy for this job. You need someone that can understand the task at hand better than anybody else, and that's why you need a guy like Ken Miles. And the chemistry that he has with Carroll Shelby is really interesting because they share a commonality in that they have such a respect for the sport, not only for the sport of racing, but for the sport of motor vehicle engineering. They both, they don't exactly like each other that much. They're not exactly best friends, but they come together towards the end of the movie and form a friendship over the respect that they have for what they have to do here, the task at hand, and how they admire each other as men of their craft. And along the way, Ford, the bigwigs, the suits, the bean counters are trying everything they can to, fuck with what they're doing down on the ground level. And you can really use that as an insert for any situation. Game publishers do that shit to the development studios all the time. Big movie studios do that to the development teams all the time. You got your Warners and your Universals, and then on the other hand, you got your EAs and your Activisions. So you can swap out Ford for any big evil studio that you want, or big evil company rather that you want, and you'll get something that's still very familiar in most of the entertainment industry today. And it's very sad, but it's also very interesting because it shines a lens on the world that we live in, and it's interesting that a movie like that got made under a huge production studio. Don't take everything that I've said, though, to mean that all the talent was in front of the camera. There is a genius behind the camera, too. It's directed by James Mangold, who he did a little movie from 2017. I don't exactly remember what it's called, but I'm sure it'll come back to me. All jokes aside, though, he does a phenomenal job. This movie isn't exactly the most visually compelling, the most striking film that you've seen your entire life, but it does tell the story so brilliantly. It's so well written, so well staged, and the racing scenes, there's not a whole lot of them, but the racing scenes, the driving scenes, they're so kinetic and they pull you in and they hold on tight. It's so suspenseful, it's so exciting, it's so thrilling. It's just, you can't look away. It's so fascinating. I had to pee, didn't get up, because I found the whole racing segment to be so fantastic. And even when you get to the final race, the 24-hour at Le Mans, the bigwigs are still trying to fuck with the stuff on the ground level. They can't be satisfied that they got through this whole journey to get to this race and that they're about to win. They still have to mess things up because of what'll look good for the company, what'll look good for the brand, what'll look good for their image. It's heartbreaking, but that's just the world that we live in. And it's, again, I respect this movie so much for showing that sort of thing. Guys, this movie snuck up on me. I hadn't heard about it last year. I didn't find out about it till like 2 or 3 months ago, maybe. And it just kind of ended up being a movie that I was really excited about, really interested in. And it just kind of ended up being one of my favorite movies of the year. Not just of the year, but legitimately ever. This isn't a short movie. This is a 2.5-hour movie. I am willing to watch this movie over and over again for the rest of my life. it's honestly inspirational for someone like me that's wanting to become a filmmaker. Things like this are a film that I would say, if you're like me and want to make movies, this is a film that's really worth studying. And that's it for the things that I have to say that are pretentious about this movie. It's time to go ahead and put this thing into my rating system. Ford versus Ferrari is, and you're not going to believe this, spectabulous. Ford versus Ferrari, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever it is, comment below and educate me. And as always, if you want more videos from me, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Also, join me next time where I review my very first foreign film. Look at me. I'm growing up. I'll see you soon.